Today, we're pleased to announce a new service for victims of crimes in our state that we think is important and helpful. Until today, when victims of crimes have sought through the courts and through law enforcement a protective order, often called a no-contact order, so that there's a court order, a court injunction from any contact by the offender to the victim. It's not totally effective, or it's not totally legal until there's actually service upon the offender. And what happens now is that that the victim is not sure, if it's been served or when it's been served. Often, calls the sheriff's office at semi-regular hours to figure out if it's been served. And there's uncertainty for the victim. There's a lot of phone calls for the sheriff's office, but that's changing today. It's changing with what we've developed through the Crime Victims Division of our office and other partners. There's a notification system, an important notification system, so that if a victim is asked of the system, and I'll mention in a few minutes how they do that, if they've got their word into the system, they've made their marker, then as soon as the offender is served, oops, excuse me, my apologies to somebody in the press there, but no harm, I don't think. When the offender has been served, then almost instantaneously, either an email goes out to the victim or a phone call that will be repeated over a 24-hour period goes out to the victim, so that they know that the service has taken place, that the protective order, the no-contact order, is fully effective at that particular moment. They can also use the system to keep track of what is happening, if it's still in place or if there's been any changes. And of course, if for some reason the protective order lapses or goes out of effect, the victim is notified of that as well. The way to be involved in the system for victims is to call a toll-free number, 1-888-742-8463, or to go on the website www.registervpo.com. The letters in between there are REGISTRVPO, so that they can be fully connected to this system. The victims of crime, particularly domestic abuse, go through a very difficult time, a harrowing experience many times. And we in the Attorney General's office in general, and our Crime Victims Assistance Division in particular, are really committed to help people, particularly those in the most need. And among those in the most need are those that are victims of domestic violence. And we think that this is a good program, one that is going to help them have some more knowledge and some more certainty, and less phone calls, less exasperation to find out if the no-contact order has indeed been served. We've done this in conjunction with the Iowa Criminal Justice Information Sharing Advisory Committee, and APRIS Inc. of Louisville, Kentucky is doing a lot of the technical work. This program that we announced today is consistent with another one that we've had for 5 years. I think there was just the 5-year anniversary of the VINE program, where there's a similar notification system and information system concerning the offender's status. If the person is in county jail or been moved to another jail, is in the state penitentiary, is about to release, victims of crime can get exactly that information in roughly the same way. That's gone through a series of developments over the state. There are now 97 counties that are participating. The other 2 are on the program to be added. So that's become statewide. As I say, that working for and relating to and understanding what victims of crimes are going through is a very important service for the state. And it's one of somewhat recent development. We set up, through the legislature and through the County Attorneys Association, the Crime Victims Assistance Division in the Attorney General's office, in, I believe, 1989, the late 90s. Prior to that time, too often victims of crime were the forgotten people in the system. We were concerned about law enforcement apprehending the offender. We were concerned, as we should, about the rights of the offender. But the victims were sort of forgotten, and we are committed every day in the Attorney General's office to change that. And this is, I think, one of the ways that, that we're doing this. The official name is the Iowa Protective Order Notification for Domestic Abuse Program, IPONDA, rather long name, but an important name. And we received some federal funding to do this, which we are appreciative of. The funding was awarded by the Office of Violence Against Women in the United States Department of Justice. I would note that there's some question about the reauthorization of this program by the Congress. I think it would be totally irresponsible of Congress not to reauthorize the Violence Against Women program at the federal level. We don't need to go back to the time when victims of crime were the forgotten people. That would be a huge mistake. And for Congress not to reauthorize would be, in my view, a huge mistake.